Story time. I've decided to tell the story of the first time I took psilocybin, aka magic mushrooms. Um, yeah. Okay, so back in high school, I don't know if it was junior or senior year. I believe it was my senior year. A friend of mine and I used to ride to school together. He used to drive. He'd come pick me up, take me to school each day, whatever, and we'd chat and hang out. We didn't do a whole lot outside of that, but I don't know. That was just the agreement we had. We hung out during the ride. He came by my house anyway, so he went ahead and picked me up for school every day, and I gave him gas money or whatever. Anyway, one day, it just kind of out of nowhere, he's like, "Hey man, have you ever tried mushrooms?" And I'm like, "No, but I've always been interested. I've always wanted to try them, or at least been curious about them." Um, and he's like, I think I'm gonna try to get some. I knew someone that has some, or maybe he said that he had some at home or whatever. He's like, "I've never done them, but I've got some at home." And he's like, and I'm like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "I'll give you some, man." I was like, "Okay." So like a day or two later, he comes into school and he's like, "Hey man, hey," um, he's like, I got those mushrooms in my pocket." Um, he's like, "I'm kind of scared to take them, to be honest." He's like, I don't know if I want to do it." He's like, "But I'll give them to you." And I'm like, "Okay." So he hands me this little tiny baggie, and it's got these little tiny mushroom caps in it, maybe like that. And I think there's three of them. There's one like that big, there's one like that big, and then there's a little itty bitty tiny. So I don't know how much it was. Maybe like a gram. Maybe less. I don't know. Maybe half a gram. I don't know. So it was a very small amount, but at the time I had no idea what was a small amount, what's a large amount, um, and what the effects of a smaller amount was. Anyway, I decided, rather than carry these around in my pocket all day and possibly get in trouble, that I would just go ahead and eat them immediately. And I did. Right there in the hallway, I ate them. I was like, "Well, let's see what happens." And so obviously this wasn't a full-blown mushrooms experience. It was a very small amount. But what happened to me is pretty typical of what happens, from what I've read, when you take a small amount, a low dose. Um, I didn't get any like crazy hallucinations or anything like that. I didn't have some really deep insights or like thoughts or anything like that. But what I did have is, the first thing I noticed is, a buddy of mine were down in this, it was kind of like a rec room, but it's a room we would go and hang out at in after lunch. But students weren't supposed to be in there at the time, so we'd like sneak down there and hang out down there, smoke cigarettes down there sometimes. Um, but the lights were always kept off, so we wouldn't get caught being down there. If someone did come, we could go hide behind something, and no one knew we were there. Anyway, so this is when they kicked in, right at lunchtime, right? We're down in this darkened room, and all of a sudden, and I tell him, I'm like, "Dude, I ate some mushrooms. I don't know what's gonna happen." And he's like, "Oh shit, I don't know." All right, sorry about that. My camera cut off, and I had to delete some stuff to make room. Um, so anyway, we're down there, and the mushrooms start to kick in, and the first thing I notice is color changes, right? Um, Wherever there was shadow or a little bit of light, like, you know, playing any kind of visual tricks, there was like a weird color tint to it that wasn't there before. So like the guy was talking to me, and every time he opened his mouth, you can see right here, like when I open my mouth, it's dark in there, and there's like a contrast to the light out here and the dark in there. Well, whenever that would happen, I would see like purples and greens, like dark purples and greens, rather than just, darkness, shadows. Um, and I noticed that with everything. I was looking around, and like the lights were, there was no lights in there, but there were lights coming from the hallway. Wherever like the limited amount of light that was in there would shine on something, it would just look different. It would look really vivid, and it would have these weird colors around it, like shadows, like I said, that would be in like purples and greens. Um, And then this continued. I went to class after this. Like I said, it never got crazy. I never felt out of my element or out of control. I just felt really good. I felt really euphoric. Um, it was like, I remember I was like talking to people in my class and stuff, and I just felt really comfortable and like connected with people. I felt like everyone was my friend. I felt like everyone was friendly. Um, it was just like no negative thoughts going on, and everything was like, I don't know, conversation was really easy, just flowing. And I just remember feeling really good, like, wow, I feel fantastic right now. I just feel so good all over, like my body, my mind. I just really euphoric, like I said. And that was basically it. That's what happened. I was in a really good mood, you know, for several hours, and then I don't really remember coming down from it or it wearing off. It obviously happened. But yeah, that was my experience. I guess it just faded at some point. But yeah, for a couple hours I just felt fantastic, and everything had a kind of a colorful tint to it, and light seemed a little brighter and shadows seemed a little more colorful. Um, but yeah, that was my experience. The first time I ever took mushrooms, I took a chance and took them at school my very first time. So, wouldn't recommend doing that with a higher dose. Um, might be some issues with that. I really don't know. But that is the first and only time I've ever taken mushrooms. But I always have been interested in trying them again at a higher dose where I actually get some sort of breakthrough or feel like the mushrooms are teaching me something, like a chemical teacher, as they say. I've always been really interested in this, and it's something I really want to try again. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it's my mushroom story. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like stories like this, I have a couple of different stories on my channel, just things that have happened to me throughout my life that I find interesting, and some other people do too. And I'm going to put them all in a playlist called like Story Time or something like that. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, like a long form story where I'm just telling you what happened, go look for that playlist, because I'm going to make it today. Alright, if you enjoyed the video, please click the like button, and if you enjoy this type of video, or if you enjoy videos about movies, comic books, pop culture, nerd shit, please subscribe for more, because that's what I do here. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.